Hello everyone, Chef Tim here. Today I will be showing you guys how to make pho using oxtails. Beef bones are typically boiled for a very long time, which helps fuse all the flavors together, giving pho its earthy and aromatic flavor. For today's recipe, we will be boiling our beef bones for several hours. And if you don't have a lot of time, you can use Sunfat's instant broth mix to make it on the go. We will begin by parboiling our bones. This is a technique used to clean and remove any excess scum from your beef bones. You want to submerge your bones for at least 15 to 20 minutes. This allows the bones to truly be cleaned and removed of any impurities and scum. Notice that I'm not throwing in my oxtails. I'm going to be saving that for later, but I did parboil my beef shank as well. Notice after several minutes that you will see scum and impurities float to the top. I scoop it out because I don't want this going down my drain. And you will be rinsing and draining all the water from your pot. I will say that you don't have to parboil your bones, but if you don't like the scum and all those impurities, then you can go ahead and do so. It is solely up to you on how you want to prepare your beef bones. Now in this case, you can parboil all your protein items, but I want to add my oxtails later because I like the rich flavor that it gives my broth. I also like to give my beef bones an extra rinse because I know that draining and boiling the bones won't be just enough to get rid of those impurities and scum. So I like to take the time and give it an extra rinse just to clean my bone. Now the cool thing about parboiling our bones is that when you submerge it into the water to finally start working on your broth, you won't see any scum or impurities float to the top. Once I throw my bones in, I like to start roasting my onions and my ginger. Charring your onion and ginger is what gives your pho that savory and earthy aroma that we all know it is notorious for. You want to be careful with this step because you don't want to burn your aromatics. It's okay to get a little char on there, but you don't want to overdo it. So when you're done and get the char that you like, go ahead and throw them in your pot. This will help out your beef stock tremendously. I also like to add vegetables to give it texture. For example, carrots and celery. Carrots will give it a nice natural sweetness. Here is a star of your dish, and one of them is the star itself. You have your 5 spices, which is star anise, cloves, cinnamon, pepper, and fennel seeds, which is all found in your Sunfat palo powder. I added 2 tablespoons, considering this is in powder form, so it will change the color of your broth. But that's not a problem at all because it makes up in flavor. Your total boil time is going to be from 4 to 8 hours, depending on how much time you have. The longer the better. I also did add some Sunfat soup seasoning, which is going to give it that extra punch in your broth. One thing I want you guys to consider is that I did not add a lot of salt for many reasons. You get a lot of your salt from the fat contents from your beef bones, oxtail, and beef shank. Also, I like to add a lot of fish sauce, so since I am doing so, I don't add a lot of salt. However, if you like that saltiness in your pho, go ahead and add salt and less fish sauce. I typically like to add my oxtails in the last 2 to 3 hours of my beef broth cooking time. This is going to give your beef broth that nice, rich, and fatty flavor that we all crave. Make sure you guys season and taste to your liking. I like to add more fish sauce, and this is optional, but I like to add more of my 8 crabs fish sauce from Sunfat. Now we're going to start prepping our topping and garnish items. The cool thing about making pho is that you have several hours to do so. I like topping my pho with green onions, cilantro, Thai basil leaf, and bean sprouts. What better way to complement a earthy and savory pho broth with fresh herbs and aromatic? There are 2 methods you can use to prepare your rice noodles. For method 1, we are going to soak our rice noodles for about 20 to 30 minutes in warm water. And then you will boil your noodles for about 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the texture of your rice noodles that you want. For method 2, we're going to soak our rice noodles for about 30 to 40 minutes, and all you need to do is add your hot broth and your rice noodles are ready to go. Whichever method you prefer, they both are efficient in obtaining the texture that you want. It is solely up to you on learning what texture of your noodles that you like. When building your bowl, I want you guys to keep in mind that your meat is sliced very thin, so the moment that you add your broth, it should start cooking right away. The meat is fairly thin, so it doesn't take long for it to cook, but if you don't want your meat to be a little pink, go ahead and take the time to add your meat to a pot of boiling water and let it boil for about 5 minutes. The cool thing about pho is everyone seasons their broth a little differently. For example, I like mine to be spicy, and I also like to add more beef paste, just to give it that more beefy broth. Season your pho accordingly. And now there's one thing that we are forgetting with this dish. A beverage. Don't forget your refreshing beverage. This Thai tea drink is so good. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. I hope you guys learned a thing or two about making pho. Don't forget to serve and enjoy. Thank you.